So I've placed an entry for a 618 retracement on the pound dollar after seeing this displacement down after rejecting that 240 fair value gap above a 60-minute swing high. We rejected the 240 fair value gap, 50% the consequent encroachment, displaced with fair value gaps, pulled back, tried to hold that fair value gap, and then displaced further during GDP news. And since then, we've started to pull back. So I've placed my stops above these highs and my targets. Ideally, I want to take target ones at, move stops to break even once this low is taken out. I'm aiming for targets below these lows where we also have, there's no 240 fair value gap. So ideally, I want to take targets to around these lows. I don't want to go too far. But we might, so this is the play I'll show from a high time frame perspective. We're essentially in a range right now, because we've at the highs of that range, we took our liquidity off that range, and also we tapped into a 240 fair value gap's consequent encroachment to 50% of that 240 fair value gap, and starting to displace on the 5-minute time frame. And because of that, that was the main reason I was looking for entry. Only problem that I have is that we have a bullish fair value gap on the 60 right there. However, that I see that as something that is in premium, not in discount. So that ideally shouldn't find support there. And even if it does, we should see price at least push through, come to this order block. And I predict price to come down to this fair value gap right there, below that order block. It might not do that as well, right? There's no guarantee, but the lower time frame and the higher time frame POIs line up for me, and that was good enough entry for me. It is just a small one-to-one trade, especially with CPI later on. I don't really want to be in the trade for too long. Maybe we'll take out the midsection of this Asian low as well. Or maybe we'll push up one more time to clear the rest of the 240 fair value gap. Honestly, couldn't tell you. So in the trade, and let's just see how it plays out. That was a perfect trade. We didn't pull back above this swing high, which is where I would have liked to put my stops. However, I wanted to be a bit more conservative. I prefer my stops to give my stops enough breathing rooms. And as I was predicting price to come down to these lows, 1-to-1, we also came down to the midsection of the Asian low, which also happens to be at a 60 time from fair value gap, which was also in my prediction. However, I didn't take my targets there. I took my target one off at the low of the initial low. I accidentally took out most of my position there, and then I left the rest of the position run down to the low of this candle where the fair value gaps are. And that's the trade for pound dollar this morning.